Guys, welcome to this week's masterclass. We've got a bit of a beauty today. We're talking about a bit of a buzzword in the health and fitness space, food noise. If you're not sure what food noise is, we'll go into that in a second, but basically it's everywhere. And this is how you can actually turn that food noise down without having to go down the route of GLP-1s. All right. So you might well know the feeling. I've had this feeling. I'm sure you probably have as well. The constant chatter in your head. This is what food noise is. That food talk in your head constantly. What's for tea? What's in the cupboards? You're planning lunch during breakfast. You're constantly thinking about food, right? Now, if you've experienced that, it's bloody exhausting, first and foremost. And the fact that it's a buzzword right now is that someone named it and called it food noise, okay? Now, food noise is that persistent, low-level mental hum that's talking to you about food constantly and never quite switches off, right? Now, if you felt it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And this is for you. If you haven't felt it, then don't worry about it. You probably don't want to watch this, but that's fine as well, okay? Now, first up, why is everyone talking about it? Well, it's a bit of a buzzword right now because of the weight loss jabs that are very popular at the minute. Now, weight loss injections, so GLP-1s like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, all that kind of stuff, they have a side effect that does turn down the mental noise around food, okay? And they actually do that. That actually does work. That's the main thing I think people have experienced from being on the jabs. But the problem with this is that when you're just constantly focusing on jabbing up to do this, you're not really getting to the root cause of the issue. You're papering over the cracks, in my opinion. You're not actually figuring out what's happening and why that food noise is there. So that's what we're going to look at here, okay? Now, food noise usually has causes, and the causes are generally boring and they're generally very fixable over time. But the thing is, there's no money to be made in that because there's billions to be made in medication and jabs. And don't get me wrong, medication's fine for some people. If you're really, really overweight, then medication is required to get that weight down so there's less pressure on your joints and less pressure on your organs. If you just want to lose a little bit of body fat for a holiday, the jabs are not the way to go for you. Honestly, trust me on that. And also, going off on a slight caveat here, but if you just go on the jabs, you need to be training, resistance training, because you need to maintain or build muscle tissue. Otherwise, you're just going to lose strength. You're going to lose any kind of bone density that you've got. And when you get to your 70s and 80s, and I think this is going to be an issue in 10, 15, 20 years for a lot of people, you'll end up being very weak, very frail. And that's a problem when you get to that age. If you start breaking bones and you start not looking after yourself in that respect, okay? So even if you do go on the jabs, you need to resistance train. You need to focus on getting protein into your diet. Anyway, I digress. Like I said, there's billions to be made in these jabs, but there's not billions to be made in just fixing the root causes instead of papering over the cracks. People look for quick fixes normally. We're looking at really getting to the root cause here so you can eradicate it for the rest of your life without having to put a jab, put a needle in your arm, okay? Or wherever you put it. Don't know where you put it. So cause number one for food noise is that you're underfed. Quite obviously, you are not eating enough food, right? If you slash your calories too aggressively, your body is going to start screaming at you and it's going to be loud. And you will constantly be thinking about food. Now, this is why crash diets don't work, because eventually that constant food noise, that constant kind of nagging in your head that you need to eat food, there's only so much willpower a human being has. And your body's going to override that at some point, and you're going to end up eating everything in sight because your body wants that quick energy, that quick fix, right? Your brain isn't broken. Your body's just working overtime to try and keep yourself alive, essentially, because all of a sudden it's like, I haven't got the energy I was having before. I need it, I need it, I need it. So it's just an alarm ringing. It's not a disorder. It's just an alarm bell ringing in your brain saying, I need that energy as soon as possible. So what happens? We tend to binge eat and we tend to overeat, and then you feel worse about stuff. So you restrict again, and over the cycle continues, all right? So the fix to this is just to make sure you're eating enough most of the time, okay? Yes, we want to have a little element of hunger when we're trying to lose body fat, of course, but we don't want it to be so noisy that all you think about is food. Eat enough protein, and that is what we talk about, a sustainable diet. Being a sustainable deficit, you will be in a sustainable diet that you can lose body fat, still have energy, still train well, still look amazing, and not have to think about food 24 hours a day, okay? Now, the signal, this is what we need to kind of really register, is the signal behind this. So if you're constantly thinking about food and you're always thinking, oh, what's the next meal? I need that. I really want chocolate. The answer is eat a bit more protein, eat a bit more food. That noise will quieten down a touch, okay? It really, really will. The reason I say that is that I've had this in the past and I've eradicated it, all right? So I know what I'm talking about with this. This is a biggie. Cause number two, you've banned foods. You've made foods forbidden. You've called them bad. You've called them naughty. All the different words around that. If you do that, if you make a food forbidden, that food's just going to be louder in your head. Okay. If you tell yourself chocolate's off limits, it immediately is in your head 24/7, 24 hours a day. All I want is chocolate. It's rent free. Okay. A full blast. It's like the pink elephant thing, right? If I said to you, don't think about a pink elephant, all you'll start doing is thinking about a pink elephant. If I say to you, don't eat chocolate, all you're going to do is think about eating chocolate. So I want you to take out the bad word, the forbidden word around food. All food is fine. As long as it's within your calorie requirements, all food is absolutely fine. I have chocolate every single day, and I try and make, this is how sad I am, I try and make it a game where I gamify it and see where I can fit a bar of dairy milk in most days, right? And it still fits within my calories. I still drop body fat because I'm within my calories. Everyone's a winner, and I don't end up binge eating at the weekends because I've been in control of chocolate, my chocolate intake, and I feel good about it, you know, because it's a nice food to have. Most people like chocolate, don't they? So I want you to think about this. Nothing is banned. Everything can fit within your calories. That's the game. That's the whole game. Try and make it a game. Make it a little bit of fun. See where you can get a packet of McCoys into your diet. Whenever I do these things, I always think of random foods, but think about that, okay? How can you do that? Cause number 3 is you're tired. You're not getting enough sleep. Now, I appreciate this isn't going to be possible for everyone. You've got young kids or you work night shifts. It's harder, but try and get the best possible sleep you can. It's important that we try and do that, because what happens is that when we don't get enough sleep, we have 2 hormones that don't play ball, right? We have the hormone ghrelin, which is, I want you to think of it like a gremlin. That's the hunger hormone. So if there's more ghrelin, you will be more hungry. And when you don't get enough sleep, ghrelin rises in your body. There is a nemesis to ghrelin, an anti-superhero to ghrelin, or the superhero to the bad guy. It's called leptin, okay? Now, leptin is the hormone that makes you feel full. And when you don't get enough sleep, leptin crashes. So it's a double whammy. You get an increase of ghrelin, you get a drop of leptin. That's just going to make you starve and hungry. It's a bad recipe if you're looking to try and diet a little bit or stay in shape or drop body fat, right? So we need to try and get more sleep to suppress ghrelin and increase leptin, okay? Also, when we're sleep deprived, our brain doesn't play ball. We make worse decisions, and your brain's constantly wanting energy because your brain runs off glucose and it wants energy. So it's constantly after sugar, high-fatty foods to give it energy fast. And again, there's only so much willpower a human being has before they kind of cave into your body and your body wants something. So the fix behind this, and it's a very underrated thing, is just to try and get more sleep. Now, I've put 7 to 9 hours here. Not possible for everyone. I appreciate that, but try and get the best possible sleep you can. Maybe go to bed a bit earlier. Try and get a regular bedtime routine just so you can unwind properly. Read a book before bed, maybe just to kind of switch your brain off. Those types of things, okay? Really try and focus on that. And then the 4th one is that food is generally doing a job for most people. Now, it could be stress relief. You know, people, when they're stressed, they eat. Some people go the other way, but some people eat when they're stressed. If you're bored, people eat. I've been guilty of this in the past. It could be the one kind of like bright spot of your day, the takeaway on a Thursday because you've had a crap day. That might be the best bit of your day. Now, if food is your primary source of comfort or joy, your brain's constantly going to go there, isn't it? Because it wants that kind of dopamine hit from the comfort and joy. So it will be permanently on your agenda if food is your kind of main focus of joy and comfort, right? Now, it isn't a weakness by any stretch of the imagination. It's logistics. Food is filling a gap there. Now, what we need to do is find other things to fill that gap. So in an ideal world, it would be get a workout in or go for a walk, but it could be something like reading a new book or having a bath or something. Reward yourself with something, okay? Give yourself that dopamine hit in a different way. And that will really help that noise naturally fade over time, okay? Hopefully all this is making sense. So 2-week test here to finish this off right before reaching for any GLP-1s, which I hope the vast majority of people, it's a last resort. Then we want to try and do these things, okay? Eat enough food, first and foremost. A real sustainable calorie deficit is something you can stick to long term, something to help drop body fat gradually, steadily, keeps you feeling full, keeps you energized, means you can train like a beast, all right? That's what we're after. Protein with every single meal is the most underrated macronutrient. It's so satiating, helps to build muscle tissue, and it actually increases the thermic effect of food, which means you burn calories when you eat it because it's harder to digest, which burns calories. Again, fantastic. Nothing banned, nothing forbidden, right? I want you to take that off the table. Everything is possible to eat within your numbers. So you can eat the foods that you love as long as it fits within your numbers. That could be on a daily basis, could be on a weekly basis. What I mean by that is that if you've got a calorie target of 1,500 for the day, multiply that by 7, then you can try and fit it, a takeaway, for example, a Chinese or Indian, within your weekly calories and still make progress, okay? That's a good way of looking at it. And then try and get the sleep. Try and get the sleep. Let's get the best quality sleep you possibly can. Try and treat it as a non-negotiable, right? But the takeaway from all of this, and it's probably not the greatest term to use, the takeaway, but the takeaway from this masterclass today is the noise isn't the problem, it's the message, and recognizing that message, right? Answer it properly, get enough food, get enough sleep, nothing's forbidden, something to fill those emotional gaps, and that noise will go quiet most of the time, okay? And if you stick to these things, that will be a great way to get around the food noise side of things. Start with the boring stuff. It works more often than anybody wants to admit. If you have any questions about this, drop me a message, okay? Because this is very important. It's a massive part of people's lives. Eating food is a humongous part of everyone's life, isn't it? And if we can quieten that food noise down and get you feeling good and getting your relationship with food better, that's a win, right? Have a good one, guys. Take care, and I'll speak to you all really soon.